Welcome back. Today I'm going to try another combo video where I start with Puzzle Rush and then go analyze some games because I'd like to do both today and it makes sense to me to put them in the same video. I'm doing Puzzle Rush just for practice, pattern recognition, and then analyzing my games, to find out how I messed up or how my opponent messed up in the ones where I won. But let's just do this. I only have so much time every day. If you're not familiar with my channel, I'm not a chess coach or a titled player. A lot of people would say I'm not even that good, but I'm trying to get better, or at least trying not to get worse at chess. And at over 50, which I am, you start to worry about eventually your mental capacity is going to diminish. And I'm trying to stave that off as long as I can. So let's just click play and, we'll do our best. Okay, I'm guessing this is going to be a back rank. Right back there, they have to block and I'll take. Okay, where's my queen? That looks like checkmate right there. And I think this is checkmate. They have to block, but then I'll take it. And is that checkmate? They have to block with their queen. Okay. Oh, I'm playing with the white pieces. Well, that's checkmate then. They trapped themselves. Here, checkmate, dead ahead. And this, I have a same one here, or, similar one. And same thing here looks like, because of the bishop guarding that square. Here, I think I go here first. Oh, I think the king could have moved over and then I would have taken it. This one, I'm pretty sure that's check, but I don't know if it's best. Oh, the king moved over and then I move over. Okay. That's check. Oh, the king could have... Oh, no, I had another bishop, so the king could not have moved over. Okay. I think that's checkmate right there. And here I check, the king moves over, and then the knight will take, and then my rook will take. Okay. I'm playing with the white pieces. I could just take their queen or I could check. Should I check? I think I should check. Okay, and then check here. And then checkmate. Okay. And this one, wherever I move the rook, is going to be... Oh no, it's black. Black to move. Okay, wow. Should I just get a queen then? Oh, okay. Was that checkmate? It might have been. I have a check over here. And the king moved. And then what? Oh, take the bishop? Okay, I almost didn't see that. This looks like I have a check here, and then mate. Okay, is that check? And then the king has to move, and then it'll be a discovered check when I go here and win their queen. Okay, figured that one out. That's not mate, is it? This one will be mate after. Oh no, I was wrong. Okay. Oh, because I had to take the first rook first, maybe. I don't know. This one's just taking the bishop, I think. Oh, and then getting out of check. And then taking the pawn. Okay. I only have 30 seconds left, but I think this is checkmate after they block with the bishop. Okay. And where's their king? Oh, it's right there. Is that... Nope, that wasn't it. Oh, I should have taken the pawn because my rook was behind it. Okay. That's the way it goes sometimes. I think... do I just take the rook? No, probably not. Probably come here and check and then mate. Took me a second. Where's their king? Is this... Nope. Okay. Oh, well, I only had 1 second left, so it was going to end soon anyway. Okay. Well, I think that's my second best of all time. Well, I don't feel too bad about that. That's my best one, over my last few sessions. Let's just take a look at the ones we missed. I know I went quickly, so, there was probably something obvious. Here where they did, I think I had to take the rook first, and then whichever way they took back, the other rook would be more effective because they would only have one defender on the back rank after that. Okay, and I think I recognized that one right after I missed it. And the other one I missed, or the second one I missed, my opponent took that knight. Yeah, I think I should have gone all the way and taken the pawn and then taken their queen. And then moved out of check because that's forced. Okay. Sorry, that one was forced. So I'm not sure why the last move was included. Okay. And in this one, I probably should have gone all the way because I think I just went here. Yeah, I should have gone all the way because my bishop was defending it. Okay. So all three of those just required couple of extra seconds of watching. Got it. In this game from a few nights ago on Lichess, it looks like my opponent was ahead almost the entire way according to the graph here, but then they gave it away here at the end. However, I had an advantage just a little bit before that and I messed it up, so I'm going to click the Z key to get rid of all that stuff on the right. I had something here that I could have taken advantage of. I'm gonna guess it was this check, bishop to e3, and then I would have won the knight after that. Because what did I play? I played queen to h4. I think the reason that I did is because I didn't realize I could just take the knight now. And also I was worried about this, what do you call it? This discovered attack here on the queen, you know, when they moved their knight next. I probably shouldn't have been worried about that, but okay, now that I'm looking at the board, I think another thing I was worried about was that their bishop and queen were lined up on h7. They would have taken there with check. I guess I could have just moved over, but if I had moved over the other way, of course, they would have brought their queen to g6, and that would have been mate. So I think if they had checked there at some point, I would have had to have gone here, but I'm going to guess it's either just taking the knight now or checking bishop to h3. I mean, bishop to e3 and then taking the knight, but I'm leaning toward the bishop. So let's turn this on and click this. Okay. Ooh, both of them. Bishop to e3 check started off first and then they kind of flipped, but just taking the knight now is slightly better, but this is also fine. Those are the only two moves. Okay. Well, I'm glad I found them. And it does say that in the case of the check, obviously, I think the king has to move over. They could block with the rook, but they're not going to. So the king's going to move over. Then I would take the knight, but then they would check over here. And if I just took the knight now, which it says is my best move, they would check over here. And I would, in both cases, I would have to go to h8, not up to f7, because again, once they brought the queen, I think that would be checkmate. So yeah, I was probably a little overly worried about that, and I went to protect the h-pawn by moving the queen, but that allowed them to play g3 and fork my two pieces, which they did. But I found the best move here, and this time it was, you know, bishop to e3. My opponent is still ahead now, though, because all that does is allow me to save the king. And it doesn't really matter whether the king moves up or over. It moved over, and then I saved my queen. Oh, it says I should have just pushed forward one, but I saved my queen by taking the rook with check, which gave my opponent an even bigger advantage because all they had to do was take it with their bishop. That would have been their best move and the only move that keeps them the lead. If they had taken with their rook, we would have been even. And the third move is king to g2, which would have given me a huge advantage. They played the middle one of those two. Now, obviously, during the game, I didn't know that was a blunder that brought us pretty close to even. I still wanted to watch my h-pawn, so I left my queen on that file. I just moved it up one where it's attacking this rook. It's not really attacking the rook, not yet, because the bishop's defending it. My opponent needs to play knight to e4. It's their only move. The only move that keeps us close to even, and I'm not sure why that's the only move. I think it's the only move because it blocks this coming check, bishop to b7, but they didn't play it. They took this pawn, which isn't even a free pawn. I can just take it, right? And that's my second best move, and I still would have been ahead. I don't think I even saw that. I just, saw this check here, so I played this check. My opponent only has a few legal moves. They can block that check with the queen, which would result in mate. If they block the check with the bishop, then I take the rook because the rook's no longer defended, and that's checkmate. If they block the check with the rook, then I take it, and then the queen has to block, and that's mate. Well, they picked this one, which undefends the rook and allows me to take, so I won that one. I think I do understand my mistake here, and I did find it pretty quickly. So I'm glad I won, but, I could have been ahead much more quickly if I had just seen the tactic here. I didn't see the bishop to e3 check until they forked my pieces over here with the g-pawn. And by then it was too late, but my opponent got into a sticky situation where they had a couple of places with only moves, and they found the second or third best move on a couple of them. So I was able to pull that out at the end. Let's go on to the next game. In this one, the game review here on Lichess said I had 6 blunders, and my opponent only had 4, but I still won. And that little statistic right there tells you that not all blunders are created equally. My 6 blunders, on average, were less bad than my opponent's 4 blunders. And that's probably due to, according to the graph here, where there's a couple of huge cliffs, a couple of their blunders being really bad. But I'm going to go to mine. My first blunder was here after this inaccuracy on my opponent's part. It looks like we're even. Let's click the Z key here. And what I played was knight to f6. Okay, well, that has to be here. It looked like they had, 2 pieces lined up here, and of course I only have 1 defender. So that's why I thought to pull this back, but that wasn't the best plan. Should I have just taken the knight? Because what else is there? My knight's dead anywhere else it goes, and it can't go here. But yeah, it's dead there, it's dead there, it's dead there. Wait, it's not dead here because that's where I moved it, and I picked that spot because it was safe. But I'm guessing I should have taken their knight, but then that would have allowed them to develop another piece, wouldn't it? So I'm not sure. But yeah, it was, according to the graph, it was a blunder and gave my opponent a huge advantage, the fact that I brought my knight back to f6. So I'm going to guess I should have just taken, click the Z key and turn this on. No, I should not have just taken. The only move that keeps us even is f5, and then they wouldn't take, it says, but if they did, I guess, I would take with one of those 2 pawns, and then they wouldn't want to take with the other one because it would be a pawn there. And then their rook would have to move. I assumed their rook was about to move anyway, because that's the whole reason they brought it up here, was so they could get it over here on the g file pointed at my king, I assume. It seems a little early in the game, move 11, to do the rook lift idea. But I mean, their queen's able to get out pretty quickly too, due to the opening that's been played. So yeah, I had to find f5 here. Well, I'll just say, due to a game a month or so ago, maybe 2 months ago, I'm very hesitant to play my f-pawn, even after castling. I played someone that was one of my subscribers at the time, but isn't anymore for whatever reason. They didn't explain to me, and they don't have to. But in that game, I played f5 when I thought it was a good time, and that turned out to be the mistake that lost me the game. And my opponent thought it was obvious that was the mistake that lost me the game. But so here it looks like a good move, but I thought it was a good move then, so I've been gun shy about it ever since. But taking the knight is definitely not as good as what I played. Okay, so this blunder wasn't that bad, not as bad as what I could have done, which is taking here. That would have been much worse. Mate in 17. Well, it's a good thing I didn't take the knight then. And that's because they can take here. Sorry, it's mate in 10. So I move over is my best move. I assume they're going to put their rook over here. So now anytime they move the bishop, it's check. My best move is knight to f3, which I guess just delays their queen getting out by a little bit, because their rook was already up here. So taking the knight would have been very bad. I did not realize it would be that bad. f5. Wow. Okay, well, I'm glad I played what I played, because I wasn't going to play f5, and if I hadn't have brought it back, I was going to take the knight. I remember considering taking the knight, and as we just saw, that would have been very bad, so I brought it back. My next move was also a blunder, so we'll just leave it here. After this, I played queen to c7. I think I was trying to maybe break out this way, but that doesn't seem like a good idea because of all the pawns. My opponent has already played their f-pawn. So here I'm guessing I needed to push my h-pawn. No. Okay, h-pawn is good. And g-pawn also. The g-pawn, I assume, keeps their bishop from coming in here. The h-pawn keeps their rook from pointing down here, so that I could take the bishop when it got there. But it had to be one of those two to keep us at 1.3. Okay, well, at least I guessed one of them. And it looks like 2 moves later was also a blunder, so I'll just leave the lines on here. After I blundered this, it's +5. My opponent got the knight out of there. I put my knight back in the middle, not sure why, again, because now they can just take it, and it says that's their best move. And here I blundered by taking it with my pawn, which was why I felt comfortable putting it in there. But I had to do something else. I'm going to guess h6 or g6. Oh no, it's the f-pawn this time. It has to be f5. That's the only move that keeps us under +5. Oh, it would have been a fork. And blocked the bishop's path down here. Okay. I probably would have found that if I had looked for just a second, but it says if I had played f5, they would have played knight to g5, and I wouldn't have taken the other one. I would have had to have played h6 at that point, because their knight and rook would both be pointed here. All right, yeah, so I was basically lost here, and I made mate in 4 by playing that, but my opponent had to check. Had to check with the knight, which I would have to take, because moving over would be mate in 1, I think, right? If I just moved over, I think that's checkmate. So yeah, if they went there, I would have to take, which completely opens my king, and then they would move their rook over, which would be check. Then I would move my king over, and then they would put their queen right here. But my opponent didn't want to give up the knight. They took that pawn instead, and I finally played f5. I don't think it's because I saw the fork. I think it's because I thought it was the only way to prevent, the coming checkmate over here. And so I wasn't playing it because I thought it was a great move. I was playing it because I thought it was my only move. And so when I played that, now my opponent's advantage is almost gone, and they needed to bring the bishop back. All the way back maybe would have been fine. Those are the only 2 moves that keep them ahead, but they took the knight, so now I'm ahead, but I blundered here. Let's see, what did I play? Oh, I took it. I'm guessing I should have taken with the pawn, or should I have played g6? Oh no, I should have taken the free knight. That's the only move. The only move that maintains my advantage is taking the free knight. And it says that they would then give up the rook here. I'm thinking if I took here, wouldn't they put their queen there? Hold on. Why would... Okay, taking with the queen is definitely not their best move. Their best move is to give up the rook. But why is this bad? I need to know. It's because I can take the bishop, which I was about to do anyway. But can't they now line up for mate, one way or the other? It says rook to g3 is their best move. Definitely not queen to h5. I guess that way I could squeeze out. Okay, so what if they played their best move? Now, I need to defend against this, right? Either rook to f7 or queen to c7. Even g6 would be fine here. Wow. All right, so all I had to do was take the knight, but that's my only move, and I thought I should take the bishop. But now we're back to basically even. Well, and about 9 moves later, my opponent has built up a 5-point advantage again, but here they blundered. After I pushed that pawn forward, they needed to play e4, it says. And I'm looking at the lines because it's their move. I'm not trying to figure out things. I think the reason they needed to play e4 here is because, you know, I had put my, the whole reason I moved this pawn was so we could trade queens. They're aiming for, if not mate, very close, right? If my queen wasn't there and they pull their queen here, I have to move over. They could check me again. I have to come out, and they still have a dark squared bishop. So I was really worried about that. That's why I pushed this pawn. Thought they would trade queens with me here, but instead they checked me as if my queen wasn't there. So then I took it. So I'm guessing that one thing my opponent can work on is discovered attacks. I'm better than I used to be at seeing these, and I'm guessing this was a weak point for my opponent. Maybe it's a weak point for you. So when a piece moves, it's not where it was anymore, which seems not that bright when you say it. It's stating the obvious. But that means that not only did I move the piece and it's now in a new location, so it's attacking there, it's attacking here, you know, nothing's there. It's able to move, you know, it's got these choices on the next turn, right? So, but the problem is that it's not where it was anymore. And what it was doing before was keeping these queens from seeing each other. So I guess my opponent just saw, oh, that pawn isn't that bad off. It'll be okay if he takes that pawn because they could take back and that's defended. So they thought, go ahead and check. But yeah, when a piece moves, see what it gets out of the way of. And that's what they missed here. So I was able to take. I'm curious as to how long they spent on that move. 642 to 614. Wow. They spent 28 seconds on that move. I think I did the math right. But yeah, 28 seconds. So I took their queen, they took back, and now I'm just up 3 points of material, a rook for a couple of pawns, and they never castled. Neither one of us ever were able to develop these bishops due to the way that the game played out. So, you know, we finally did get our bishops off the back rank, and I was able to finish off this game just because of having the extra piece. That helped a lot. I sacrificed a rook for the bishop and the pawn. I don't know if that was great. Let me see. Oh, that was my best move. Okay. Yeah, I gave up the rook for the bishop and the pawn because I'm still up a piece. I was up a rook for a couple of pawns, but now I'm up a bishop for a couple of pawns. And these pawns aren't going to be able to get past. They can't even get their rook over here to defend this one. So they moved it forward, which allowed me to, you know, get rid of the other one, but they didn't take mine. So that allows me to get rid of this one because they still can't get their rook over there to defend it, put the bishop in a safe spot because I could tell they were coming for it, and then take this pawn, and then take that pawn. Now they can check, but I can just block that. And if they take, well, I've got a passed pawn. And I think my bishop and other pawns can take care of the rest of their things. And I think that's where my opponent resigned. Their king can't come forward here, can't go this way because of my bishop. There would be no point in going toward my bishop. It says king to e3 actually is their best move. But then I'm just going to be able to get in front of my pawn here, my passed pawn, and help guide it down. Also, if they were to try something like this, I think I could just take it. And then that, yes, they would have a passed pawn, but I would be able to get it, I think. So anyway, I think I understand my mistake in that game. When I first looked at it, I don't think I understood, but after seeing how quick it was for them to get their pieces over here and get into a mating sequence, I think I understand. I have to defend it at this point. And I don't need to worry about this backward pawn just yet because my bishop is defending it and they're not attacking it. At this point, I definitely felt really worried because of, you know, these advanced pawns that are protecting this knight. Their rook's already ready to come here. Their queen's coming over. I felt like I might need to protect this square, which is why I pulled it back. But hopefully in the future, if I see this, you know, I'll figure that out. Let's go on to the next game. In this game, we were nearly even here after 26 moves, very close to even according to the engine. I just happened to see that their queen and rook were on a square where I could fork them, and that is my blunder according to this right here. I was able to avoid seeing what I should have played. I was feeling pretty trapped. I had castled over to the king side in this game, and my opponent was able to just shear away all the pawns and all my defenses over there just easily. And I must have made the best moves to get out of it if we're still even here, because I certainly felt lost at that point. My king has had to run over here, and I feel like they're about to check me, and I'm going to have to, you know, run over there. And I don't know how it's going to work out. But here I thought I had an opportunity, but that was not it. So I'm guessing I should have gone ahead and moved my king over. Yeah, okay. That was one of them. I could have also played bishop to a3 attacking the rook, and it would have had to drop back, but then I would have played king to c2. Or I could have played a4, and I don't know what they would have done at that point. It says they would have played rook to b8, but I seriously doubt it. And then bishop to a3, and then king to c2. So king to c2 is in all of those lines. So that I should have gone ahead and played king to c2 here. They couldn't have checked me at that point with the queen due to where it is, because I would have taken it. But they could have checked, let's see, if I had played king to c2, it says they would have gone ahead and brought their other rook, and I would have left my king on c2 and played a4. But then later I would play king to b1. Okay. The whole idea, I guess, is to get the king over here. I don't know why I'd play a4, because that would leave that pawn, the b pawn, undefended. But a4 figures in a couple of these lines. I do know why I would want to play a4 if I was going to put the bishop here, because I always like to put the bishop behind the pawn. The king to c2. Got it. The problem with playing this is that they can check me here on f3, and I can't move. I will say that right after I moved it there, I thought, oh no, they can check me here, and I can't move. I would have to block with either the queen or the rook, and I was pretty sure I was going to block with the queen, but I wasn't sure. But instead, my opponent took the d pawn, which they probably thought was a good idea, because I'm attacking their queen, and they thought they were attacking my queen. I think the problem with that is that if I take their queen, and they take mine, I get their rook also, and they're going to get my knight. So I would go up and exchange there, a knight for the rook, right? Hopefully, oh no, my best move is just to take the rook. Oh, my best move's just to take the rook, and then they would take the pawn. I did not know that. I took their queen, and then they took mine, and I took their rook, and they took my knight. So I did go up the exchange, but they had an extra pawn. Well, they got a bunch of extra pawns apparently, and so I'm only up 1 point of material, but the engine thinks I'm way ahead here, and of course I was for the rest of the game. After I was able to clear off some of their extra pawns, and then my opponent resigned there because they only have one legal move, and it's to block with the rook, and then I'll take it, and that'll be mate, because their king can't escape because my bishop's covering that square. But I would like to point out that my opponent didn't make any blunders until here when they played that, and I think that might be due to time trouble. They had been using their time wisely, apparently, the rest of the game. I think they had made a couple of very small mistakes, but as I said, they had been leading, or we had been even the entire game up till this point. But with under 2 minutes remaining and me having more than 7 minutes left, look how much time they spent on that. They spent 48 seconds on that move. And now they're really in time trouble, so when I take and they take, they only spent 3 minutes, or 3 seconds on that move. So when I take back, they've only got 53 seconds left. And after I take here and take there, now they're only got 43 seconds left, so that explained this blunder. They're definitely feeling the time pressure. They had to keep the rook on the back rank or create another escape for the, another route for their king to escape. So I'm going to blame that blunder and maybe the other one on time trouble just because of how low they were getting on time. But anyway, I do think that I understand the mistake here is that they can just check me and then I have to block. I don't know how bad it would be, and I'm not sure why it's -5 here, because if they had played their best move, which was checking me, couldn't I just block with the queen? I guess the problem is that then now my queen is pinned so they can check me here. I have to come up, only legal move, and now they can take this pawn, and I have to block with my bishop or move with the king to c3 because I can't go to c2 now because their knight's guarding that square. So yeah, they just did those things in the wrong order apparently, and they went with danger levels here. They thought, oh, if he's attacking my queen, I'll attack their queen, but I could have just taken the rook. I'm not sure why I didn't see that. If I had just taken this, then they could have saved their queen. It says their best move is taking the pawn. Why wouldn't they check though? That's not listed anymore, but I'm curious, why wouldn't they check? Because I can go to c2, the rook's not over here anymore. And now they can check with e3, and I could just take it with my, I would have messed up there. Oh, because it's attacking my queen, so I have to take it now. Yeah, if I had just gone to b1, they would have got my queen. Okay, so I take it, and they're going to take the rook, I assume. And now I play king to b1, and the threat's over. And I have 2 extra pieces. Yeah, that required some precision, so I'm kind of glad that I played this first and it went this way. All right, well, I think I understand that. Let's go on to the next game. In this one from last night, which does mean I've caught up, I had the lead at a couple of points early on and I missed something, but the game came down to this one move right here. We had been even for quite some time, And there's really no way for me to get back there and check them because they're keeping their queen on this rank. And all I have to do is not hang my queen and keep moving. I've got 5 minutes left. My opponent has 7 minutes left. So I have to, I have to move relatively quickly, but not incredibly fast because of how much time we've got. And if we just repeat moves a few times, it's going to be a draw. Or if we just, make different moves every time, not blunders, but just different moves, we're going to end up hitting the 50 move rule at some point. I think we had plenty of time for that. But I was playing on my tablet, and I guess I touched the wrong square, and I put my queen right there on d3. I meant to touch c3. Now, I don't know if that's a good move or not. It says c4 would be fine, but I meant to just go up one like that. And it says we still would have been drawn because I've still got a pawn back here, my f pawn. So, they can't check me. Plus, I'm defending that square. They could have moved over to defend this pawn, but then I could have just repeated. But that's what I meant to do. But instead, so, that's mine. And of course, my opponent saw it and they took it. And then I resigned. I was already clicking for the resign button before they took, but then I was like, well, I'll wait. Maybe they'll know that I did it by accident and they won't take it just out of kindness. Some people do that. Some people will wait and think, oh, that must have been a misclick, and they won't punish you for it. I'm not saying that they should do that. They can punish me for it if they want. I should know better, and I should, click precisely in the center of the square. But anyway, I did spend some time on that move. It looks like I spent 12 seconds on that, but, I thought, I think I'll be okay here. C4 was also something I was considering because it would still guard that pawn. It would still be able to come back here. But I think it was C3 that I had decided on. I could come over, I was just going to try to rotate between these squares here, but not that one. And so anyway, that's how that one went. Good job to my opponent for playing such a good game. And like I said, they were behind for parts of the game in the middle game. But then we were even throughout the entire end game. We've been even since way back here on move 24, and this was move 47. So, 20 something moves, we stayed even. Good job to my opponent. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. And I'll see you next time.